Hi, friends. It's been a while. I hope that all is going good with you and that you are having a super fun day today. Um, we are now in the month of March. That is the third month in the year. And March is super fun because a lot is happening this month. Very first, it is Dr. Seuss's birthday this month. Now, Dr. Seuss is a famous author. Do you remember what an author is? An author is somebody who writes the books, who writes storybooks, like this one. Remember, we say written by, that whoever wrote the book is the author. Also in March is we start getting ready for springtime season. That means the days, the sun stays up a little bit longer. We get a little bit more rain during this time. The weather starts to warm up, which is my favorite. And we also celebrate St. Patrick's Day, and we will be learning more about all of this stuff throughout the rest of the month. But this month, I want to read a bunch of books that Dr. Seuss has written because I think he's such a fun author, and I love a lot of his books. And as I read them, you might even recognize some of the books too. So we will go ahead and start with the first one. It's called Dr. Seuss ABC. Now, as you remember, they're all written by Dr. Seuss. Let's get here a little closer so you can see. Big A, little a, what begins with A? Aunt Annie's alligator, A. Big B, little b, what begins with B? Barber baby bubbles and a bumblebee. Big C, little c, what begins with C? Camel on the ceiling, C. Big D, little d, what begins with D? Donuts and a duck dog, D. Big E, little e, what begins with E? Ear, egg, elephant, E. Big F, little f, what begins with F? 4 fluffy feathers on a fifer, feff. Big G, little g, what begins with G? Go and goo goggles, G. He has lots of silly words that start with the letters, if you've noticed. I think they're so fun. Big H, little h, what begins with H? Hungry horse, hen in hat, H. Big I, little I, what begins with I? Itchy Ichabod, I. Big J, little j, what begins with J? Jerry Jordan's jelly jar, J. Big K, little k, what begins with K? Kangaroo and kite, K. Big L, little l, what begins with L? Lion with a lollipop, L. Big M, little m, what begins with M? Mice in the moonlight, M. Big N, little n, what begins with those? 9 new neckties, nightshirt, and nose. Big O, little o, what begins with O? Ostrich oil, orange owl, O. Big P, little p, what begins with P? Painting some pajamas pink, P. Big Q, little q, what begins with Q? The quick queen of Quincy and her quacking quackaroo. Big R, little r, what begins with R? Rosie's red rhinoceros, R. Big S, little s, what begins with S? Sammy sipping soda pop, S. Big T, little t, what begins with T? 10 tired turtles on a tuttle tree. Big U, little u, what begins with U? Uncle Ub's umbrella and his underwear too. Big V, little v, what begins with V? Vera Violet Vin and her violet violin. Big W, little w, what begins with W? Willie's in the wash tub washing Waldo Woo. Big X, little x, what begins with X? X-ray and xylophone, XXX. Big Y, little y, what begins with Y? A yawning yellow yak with Yolanda on his back. Big Z, little z, what begins with Z? A zizzer zazzer zuzz, as you can plainly see. Now you'll see we went through all the letters of the alphabet, all the uppercase and lowercase letters, and he had some pretty creative things for what each letter started with. So as you'll go through, you're going to learn a little bit more about letters and writing and stuff. So I hope you have a super fun day today. We'll see you later.